sometimes if I'm around a Scorpio for too long, I'm like, oh my God, you're a drag. Like, I'm so bored. Like, I'm like, I want to bring the energy up. You know what I mean?
Do I bore you?
No, you don't. That's why I said Scorpio.
Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to 30, Flirty, and Surviving. I'm Tanisha.
And I'm Tracy.
And yeah, welcome to our little podcast we have here. If you would like to follow us on social media, you can follow us on Instagram, 30 Flirty Surviving Podcast. And then you can rate, subscribe, listen, and watch us on YouTube, Spotify, iHeart, and Apple Podcasts.
Correcto mundo. It's a struggle for us today, apparently, but that's okay. We're going to get through. We're going to make it. Speaking of making it, we are giving you that TS squared energy again today, holding down the fort. I don't know about you guys, but it has been a really hectic couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It's been nuts. So my first instinct is always like Mercury must be in retrograde.
Always.
And that was sort of our inspiration for today's topic. So we're going to get into Tanisha. Dun, 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 dun.
Astrology.
Yes. Like every basic white girl and brown girls.
Or you know what? You can just say every girl. Basically.
Every basic girl. I just feel like I am the stereotypical girl who's obsessed with astrology and zodiacs and signs. But you know, I feel like, yeah, you're right. Every single girl is.
I feel
every
like
single girl. It's not just a white girl thing.
No, God damn it. It's all girls. Did you see that? There was a thing on Instagram, and it was a guy texting his mom, and he was like, hey, Mom, what time was I born and where? And he goes, stop talking to her immediately.
I have been sitting next to guys who have to send those text messages. I have been the one that has forced guys. I'm like, text your mom right now and ask her what time you were born. And the mom usually is happy to answer my questions, but
oh yeah, I made Sweet Prince ask his mom, and I was like, did you ask her yet? Like, have you asked her? Like, I need to know. I need to know if we're going to make it.
Yeah, I think astrology is very important. I know a lot of people think it's like some hogwash and like there's not a lot of truth. Pish posh. There's not a lot of truth or substance to it, but I really identify with my zodiac sign. I know you do too. I think that it's really interesting, and there's a lot of like science behind it to astrology. So I think that that's what we're going to chat about today, kind of talk about like how the zodiac signs are determined, what they're based off, like what they mean, and then get into a little bit of like why they're important.
Yeah, I love that.
Cool. Let's do it. And I have a shirt on today that is all the zodiac signs.
Oh my God, I love that.
So I'm situational dressing.
You are. I am not. I wish I I don't have anything like that. But so basic knowledge of astrology. There's 12 signs in total. They are Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. So when somebody says what their sign is, usually they're talking about their sun sign, because you have more than one sign, which is something not everyone knows.
They don't know.
You have your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign, and those are all based on the date and time you were born, based upon where the planets were aligned and the stars were lined up, and it just all impacts what your sign, what your different signs are. Mm-hmm.
So sun sign is probably like the most common. That's what everybody knows. That's when if you look at a zodiac chart and you see like just your birthday, it'll tell you what sign you are. But the moon sign is more of like how you identify or who you are inside, like kind of like your perception of yourself. It's a lot to do with like your emotions or maybe how you express yourself and how you feel things. Not necessarily like your personality or like dominant traits like other people see. And then your rising sign is also referred to as the mask. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
And it's kind of like how we present ourselves or try to present ourselves to people, whether it's friends, work, relationships. It's kind of like the person that we want to be, and it has a lot to do with part of what that sun and moon signs actually are. Mm-hmm. What sign are you, Tanisha?
I am a Pisces. I'm a water sign.
I'm a ferocious Aries. And so let's get into kind of what I could talk about Aries, and I know you could talk about Pisces all day long. Hurley, what are you?
I am a Gemini.
Oh yeah, we've talked about this before. That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Okay. I'm a rising Gemini. So we might have some similarities. But I think what would be fun is kind of give a little rundown of all of the signs and their typical personality traits and kind of what that means or why those personality traits are associated with each sign. So like you said, each sign is ruled by a planet, but then there's also elements involved as well. So let's start with the elements and talk about what those are and the top 3 personality traits or characteristics associated with each element.
I like that. So we have the earth signs. Those are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And those people are typically very grounding, very stable, practical people. I don't know. So my boyfriend's a Taurus, and he is very, I would say, he has his moments, but I'm very grounded and kind of keeps me grounded kind of thing. And then you have your water signs, which is what I am.
Put yourself on blast.
I know. So those are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Go below the surface, emotional, deep, flow in and out of moods, very much head in the clouds, I would say, too.
Oh, interesting that you say that, because that was a description for another sign.
Is it really? Interesting.
Yeah. So there's earth, there's water, then you have fire, which are your Aries, your Leos, your Sagittarius folks. Fire signs, similar to what you think of with the element itself. They are a little dramatic. They're very passionate, big, bold, and they can also be extremely impulsive and tend to rely on their instincts. And then finally, we have air signs, which are Geminis, or little Hurlsburls, Aquariuses, and Libras. These signs are very intellectual. They can get lost in their thoughts sometimes, overthinkers, but they do like to live and let live. They move on quickly, forgive easily, keep the ball rolling. And then they're also very adventurous and creative minds. Do you feel like that is does that resonate with you?
Yeah, I guess so.
Do you like adventure?
Yeah, love it.
Love that for you.
He puts up with us every week, so he can't hate it.
No, obviously not.
Okay, so then very quickly, in addition to the elements, like we said, there's the planets. So this one's a lot to kind of get through, but I think it's super interesting. So I wanted to mention it, but we'll roll through it as swiftly as I can. We all know me. That's not really going to happen. Okay, so each sign has the ruling planet or the sun or the moon, something in space, stars that they are associated with. So starting with Aries, they're the first sign of the zodiac. They are ruled by the planet Mars, and in ancient Greek mythology, Mars is the god of war. So that's why
Nothing like you. I don't know. Anyway, keep going.
That's why Aries can be known to be fighters, be a little aggressive sometimes, but they're also really great leaders and ready to kind of stand up, put their foot down, say what they believe, and go for that kind of stuff. Taurus, for your mans, is ruled by Venus, which is the god of love. And interesting because other planets are also, other signs have Venus as well. And so you'll notice that there's different characteristics that get broken up. So Taurus are related to like things of luxury. They can be materialistic. They like their things. And they like things that are pretty and shiny and like to look. Geminis are ruled by Mercury, which is the god of communication. You are the messenger. You're really good at relaying information to people, being the liaison, and you're also very quick-witted. Yeah. Which I would say is very true because you're always busting my balls.
That goddamn mouth of yours.
It's mutual.
Cancers are ruled by the moon, and the moon is that like emotional, I don't know what I'm going to say, but the people with the moon are really emotional. The moon rules maternal instincts and emotions. So Cancers are very nurturing and have a lot of feelings. Leos are ruled by the sun, which I think is really cool. So they like think of like light. They're like shining personalities. They can be very prideful, boastful, very bold, and also creative. Virgos are ruled by Mercury as well, but less on communication here. They are more known to be like intuitive. So without words being said, they have really great gut instincts, and they're also really great like healers. They can be that kind of shoulder to cry on, or like, you know, person when you're in trouble. Libras are ruled by Venus as well. So again, the god of love, but where they differ from Tauruses, Libras are very vain and they're into looks. So rather than like nice shiny things, they want to make sure they're like the most attractive person in the room. They're like want to be as appealing to a potential partner as possible, and they're very geared towards relationships, which is kind of a good and a bad thing. Scorpios, dun dun dun, is ruled by Pluto. And so what's interesting about them, like also being like a water sign, so thinking they're emotional, they're deep. Pluto is no longer a planet, but when this was decided back in the day, it was the farthest planet out, so it's the furthest away. So they have that longing for like digging and making a connection and bringing things closer because of that like distance. Then we have Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter, which is all about personal expansion. They are the luckiest sign. They usually take risks and have a lot of success, and they also like to travel. Capricorns are ruled by Saturn, which is the like planet of discipline. They're highly organized, very structured. They like things done a certain way, kind of like the type A folks. They're, you know. Then so Aquarius, going back to what you said earlier, is the planet Uranus, or Uranus if you're nasty. Just kidding. Which is the god of the sky. So they are known for kind of like their heads in the clouds. They're like all over the place, like a little bit of everywhere, but also very humanitarian. And then last but not least, a good old Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune, which is the blue planet and associated with water. So again, going back to like being more of an emotional sign. So it's the truest in terms of that, meaning that you have the largest like emotional capacity. And rather than maybe some of the other water signs who are people that just have like an influx of emotions all the time, you have a really great ability to be empathetic and also feel other people's emotions, which is really cool. So the reason why we wanted to like go over them all is like to kind of not just talk about our signs, what we know, give everyone like a rundown of everything, but also to kind of give you a basis to look into like your moon and your rising and see what resonates with you too, because there's a lot more than just that sign that's associated with only your birthday.
Yeah. And like little tidbits, I know I wish I knew more about the other signs, but I really only know my people's signs. Like I know Aries.
Every single one of my ex-boyfriends is a Libra.
Really?
I wouldn't recommend it. 10 out of 10 don't recommend.
One ex-boyfriend is a Taurus. One is, I don't really remember what he was. I think it was a Virgo. And then Sweet Prince is a Taurus. Very much like comfort, which makes so much sense with him.
Have you looked up actually, we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's interesting to notice the patterns, like which
I know, right?
signs you're aware of and which ones you're in your circle.
Yeah. Because, like, compatibility-wise, that's something to think about. Like, you don't have to, but I do. But, like, for an water sign, earth signs are really good for us because they ground us because we are so, like, emotional and can be all over the place and, like, head in the clouds. I guess when I say that, I mean always have these, like, bigger dreams or, like, in our dream world, I guess is what I mean by that. And usually the earth signs will ground us and be like, hey, back here.
Attention.
Yeah, attention. Por favor. But yeah, I know. Do you, like, so does that mean you think you're really just attracted to that one sign if they're all, do you think it's like a thing?
I think that it kind of puts some truth to that, like, expression of, like, opposites attract. I think that, like, that's why I think that little things like this are super interesting because it does kind of prove that there is a science and some, like, truth behind astrology. Like, you hear that expression all the time, opposites attract, and truly Libra opposes Aries. So that's, like, my direct opposite. So I think that I'm attracted to that because it's something, like, new and unknown for me, and I, like, want to, like, just know more about it because they're, like, so not like me.
Yeah.
But I don't think that always means that it's going to be, like, a successful or, like, compatible connection. I just think it's, like, you know, things that are, like, new and exciting, like, or different are always a little bit intriguing.
That's true. Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah. I'm actually looking at the thing. All of my exes are earth signs. Current. Yeah.
See?
Earth signs. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's the cool thing about astrology. I think number one is, like, self-awareness. Like, I think you kind of learn about yourself, who you are, like, what makes you tick, what's your personality like, what are your typical tendencies, and, like, learn maybe why do I respond this way, or, like, why do I act this way, and why is that my passion, whatever. And then also, like, what type of people are maybe good for me to surround myself with, which I think goes into compatibility. And it's, like you mentioned, not just relationships, but it's your friends, it's your coworkers, it's everybody. It's like those personality tests they make you take, like a DISC assessment or something, like knowing, like, okay, if I'm going to communicate with a water sign, I can't be my direct Aries, like, all the time, because I think I'm just being, like, straight and to the point, but sometimes to maybe, like, a water sign, that could come off, like, cold or heartless. And so it's kind of, like, good to know your approach with other people, too, and how they respond to things.
Yeah, that's very true. That's true. I agree with that. And, like, I don't know. This is just so interesting. I think everyone should look up who they're compatible with because it's so cool to see that. And a little tidbit, Tracy and I got our charts read, and she saw them and said, so Tracy saw her first, and then I sat down and she saw my chart, and she was like, oh, you and Tracy are very compatible. I was like, you don't say. But it's also, I think it has to do with two, so we're both on the other ends of the chart of, like, the different signs. So, like, Aries is first. So they're considered, like, the young at heart and newborn.
Yeah, we're the baby.
The baby. And then Pisces are these, like, old souls and more, and less fiery, you can say. So, like, we're just the opposites attract kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's why you and I, you know?
That's really a good point.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. And I like that because I also learned, like, when I was in that reading and stuff, and this is when I was really getting familiar with, like, the moon and the rising. And so my moon is Cancer, which is a water sign and emotional. So that helps balance and level out that fiery, aggressive side of me. So she was like, you're not a true Aries. Like, your personality is, you definitely have those tendencies, but, like, if you were an Aries across the board, you'd be, like, a stone cold bitch. But she was like, you luckily have that softer side of you internally. So you're kind of able, even though you have a sharp tongue and sometimes you say things that maybe isn't the best approach or the best way to do it.
Right.
You have that capacity to be able to like know when you were wrong and feel for others and stuff. So that's why I think it's really cool to see how they all interchange and kind of come together.
Yeah. So there's this app called CoStar. That's literally what I'm looking at right now because I would love it. So I, across the board, I'm a Pisces sun, Aquarius moon, Cancer rising. Isn't that kind of, I thought that was like interesting. So I'm all
moon,
water, air.
Aquarius, you have no fire whatsoever,
No.
huh?
Well, just to get detailed, but I do know that my Venus is in Aries.
Interesting.
But
what does that mean?
Pretty much.
Because we didn't get into that either. There's
I know,
houses.
sorry, yeah.
There's
Download the what do you call it? Download this app.
what she said.
It's called CoStar. I think it just means I don't really know. I'm an Aries, meaning I'm romantic, enthusiastic, impulsive, direct. I don't like when my love gets boring. Like you need to keep me on my toes. Shit. Yeah, like I'm constantly, you gotta spice it up with me, which I do agree with because I don't, when it gets kind of like the same routine, we're doing the same thing. I'm just like, okay.
I love that. That's like a good one to have. Mine's in Taurus, which means I'm very stubborn and guarded in love, which shocker.
Interesting.
We're super surprised there.
Super surprising right there. But yeah, I have no fire in me and no earth. I'm just straight, mostly water and air. Water and air.
Water and air. And wait, I thought it was really cool what you were mentioning before too, how like earth grounds water and like how they can like the different elements can complement each other. Like I know like water can sometimes like dull a fire's flame. Like think about like water puts fire out, not necessarily in like a negative way, but it's like think of like fire as like want to like like so happy, so like things are just like booming, and water's like very calming. So what happens is like sometimes if I'm around a Scorpio for too long, I'm like, oh my god, you're drag. Like I'm so bored. Like I'm like I want to bring the energy up. You know what I mean?
Do I bore you?
No, you don't. That's why I said Scorpio.
Okay. That's very specific.
Yeah, Scorpios and my sister's a Scorpio and I love her to death. But like, she'll think this is funny. Like, I will be like, "Hey, like, how's your day?" And I just want a good. I just want a fine.
Yeah.
Not so great. And if it's not so great, then I'll dig and I'll ask.
Yeah.
She's just the cutest thing ever. She's just like, well. You know, I woke up this morning and then I rolled out of bed and I couldn't find a matching sock, so I wasn't sure what to do, and I contemplated. Like, she, like, wants to get into every single thing, because, like, everything, like, she feels so deeply, and I'm the opposite. I don't have a lot of emotions a lot of the times. I'm like, it is what it is, let's keep it rolling. Yeah. And so sometimes I'm just, like, I get exhausted a little bit.
I can see that.
I get a little bit exhausted.
I can see that.
But, like, as we've, like, gotten older and, like, matured, like, we get along so well and, like, really compliment each other, and I think that's part of, like I said, getting to know the signs and know what they like, what they don't like, how they work, because then you can better communicate and build connections with people. And I think like her and I have gotten to know each other so well that now I get how she operates, and I'm like, I know what to expect. I got this one covered.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I wish I remembered the app, but I know there's like, they said there's different types of each sign. So you can be a Pisces and not be one that cries all the time. You are but you might be the more empathetic Pisces where like you feel other people's emotions, but you're not the one crying over spilt milk kind of thing. Yeah. So there's so much to learn about the signs. I just think it's so cool.
Yeah. Well, like even I was talking to Buddy before and I was like, what's your sign? And he's like an Aries Taurus cusp. Like he's just like a day or two before things change. So sometimes like mix. That
Buddy.
Imagine an Aries that was even more like strong-willed and like full-headed than I was.
No.
Like, we love you, Buddy. But like, yeah, so like how close you are to like a transitional phase of the zodiac chart. Yeah. And your like other signs where your house, what houses are ruled by what planet. And like, there's so much that is involved.
Yeah.
And it's really, really freaking interesting. And I think there's so much truth to it. For you, knowing how passionate you are about astrology, would you say that like you would consciously not pursue things with someone if you were told that they weren't compatible for your sign? Or do you think you would just follow the heart and see what happens?
Like a true Pisces, I think I would just follow my heart because Pisces are like hopeless romantics. And I'll just be like, but we can work through anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
that's spot on.
Yeah, because technically, like, earth signs are good, but I remember reading about Tauruses because of Sweet Prince, and I was like, and it said that we're good, but it also could be really bad because they're so stubborn that I'm so go with the flow and like whatever makes you happy, that they can take over the relationship. Yeah, and then start to not dull me, but then all of a sudden I'm just doing everything that they want,
Like
and
having
I start
less
to
of
conform.
a voice.
And I feel like that's what I've done in a lot of my relationships is I just like conform to what they want, and the next thing you know, I'm like, who am I?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I wouldn't stop me, but I honestly, I did think twice. But when I was reading stuff about Tauruses, I'm like, this is going to be difficult, but I think we can do it.
Oh, that's incredible. That's incredible. I love that.
What about you though? Like, would that ever stop if if a guy, what if you found out Chris Evans was a Pisces? Just, I know you know his sign, but what
He's
if
a Gemini.
But what if he wasn't? Let's throw things out here. Would that stop
If
you?
I found out he was a what?
A Pisces or like a water sign, a Scorpio. Would that stop you, do you think? Or would you think twice about it?
I don't think there's much that would stop me from Chris Evans at this point in my life. But
I mean, he could be in prison. You'd be like, we can get like visitation, right?
stick a ring on it, conjugal visits.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for.
So I definitely think I've like learned from my past in the sense that I would be more hesitant to like date a Libra again. Just because like I like to talk. I got a lot of things to say. And Libras are very just like chill, nothing matters. And so sometimes I feel very unheard in those relationships. Like it's like they don't want to fight. So and it's like I'm not trying to fight, I'm just trying to have a conversation. Yeah. And then they shut down, and then that makes me want to fight. So then like things can really get like escalated quickly. So and then I kind of feel like sad or bummed a lot. Like maybe we don't have as much of a bond as I thought. Yeah. So I do think I would like think twice about certain signs. And like, yeah, I don't think that I'm going to be the most sympathetic person for like a Cancer in a really, like, I just don't think that I would give them what they would need because I just wouldn't want to get that like deep all the time, you know?
Right. Yeah. Cancer's a hella deep.
Hella. So I think that there's like interesting things that maybe it would make me take like pause or caution. But yeah, I don't know if like we said, there's so many layers to it. Yeah. So like it all really depends like on what their full chart is, right, on whether or not I would dismiss them as a potential partner.
That makes sense. I could never date a water sign. I just couldn't do it.
Oh, really?
No, I couldn't do it. Because even though I'm empathetic and emotional and stuff like that, I couldn't. I'm like, we don't need two of me. We just...
There can only be one.
There's
not enough room in here for the both of us.
Because I will say I do have my limitation on the emotionalness. And because especially when I'm taking on, it's just how I am. I take on people's emotions being an empath. So I'm like, you got a lot and that's a little too much for me to date.
Interesting.
Like being friends, like absolutely, jive very well. But like... dating, I couldn't do it.
Huh. Okay. Do you take any consideration into people's signs for your friendships?
No, not really. Because my friends are all different signs. And I mean, no. I think...
Yeah, I think it's like cool to think about. I think
Yeah.
like, you know, I have this one friend who's a Sagittarius and she's like the one person where I'm like, oh, you're my travel buddy. Like you're the person that like, if I was like, let's just pick up and go away this weekend, she'd be the one I call. And, you know, or like you, I feel like you're the person I call when I'm like emotional or like I need someone to listen to me. And like when I really need advice, like I have like other water signs. So like, I think it's cool to like, not even intentionally, but it's something that I've learned the more that I learn about this is like based on who people are intrinsically, you kind of go to certain people for certain things.
That's so true.
So friendships are different than a relationship in the sense that like I wouldn't not choose somebody as a friend because of their sign, but like you kind of the like landscape of your friendship does affect like or is affected by their sign and like kind of like how you guys bond and what you guys talk about and the things you do.
I feel like when I'm mad and I need validation, I'm calling your ass. I'm like, he did this. You're like, yeah, that is so valid. Like, fuck him. And I'm like, that's fucking right.
I'm like, where does he live? Send me the pin. Let's go.
Let's go. It's when I need that kind of like validation in that aspect, or just like, I'm not crazy, right? Like, I have a right to be mad about this.
I'm probably the wrong person to ask for that question because I'm
actually
like,
end it now.
You could be like, the wind blew in my direction. I'm like, Mother Nature is going down. How dare she?
How dare she? The audacity.
Literally the nerve. I also have our friend who's a Gemini, and I used to make her text my crush back in like high school because I thought like she was like witty and like could say cute things and make me look like flirty. She'd always like say the right stuff to boys.
She did. Oh my God. It's so true.
Yeah.
And I remember she'd like, I don't know. I mean, she used to, like her boyfriends, I remember they'd get in arguments.
Oh my God.
This girl, the things that she would say, I'm like, who thinks of this?
Only her. Her brain is a work of art.
It really is.
It's beautiful. Like the things, it's like she gets so focused on just like almost winning the argument at that point. She's like, whatever I gotta say. Like, but things are just like in her back pocket. Like it doesn't take time to come up with it. Like she's just ready to rock and roll. She's good to go.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. She was a funny one.
Yeah.
Especially, do you remember this one little story? I remember one time her and her boyfriend in high school had this very tumultuous relationship, and they broke up kind of right before he was throwing a party. So she gathered us all together. And we waited for him because I guess she was uninvited. And she's like, I'm not fucking uninvited. Gathered us all together. And then we all just like marched in a straight line into the party. And she's like, what's up?
Single file. Yep. The right through. She was like, this is not going to fly for me. I don't get uninvited places.
Oh, no. Especially your house?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. I love that stuff.
Yeah, I agree. It's all good stuff.
I agree.
I feel like for this week, what we should do for Dear TFS is flip it on our listeners. And rather than answering a question, I would like one of you guys to write in and let us know, like, are you dating a quote unquote compatible sign?
Yeah.
And if you're not, what are your challenges? Is it something you think about? Is it like a roadblock? Like, does everything work fine and it's like no big deal? I'm curious, like, how many people are actually in relationships with the sign they're supposed to, you know?
I know. That's so true. My friend Kara, we were talking about that. We were on the way to New York one time with our boyfriends, and we literally grabbed their phones and downloaded all the apps. And it was interesting because she's a Pisces and he's an Aquarius. And they're like, I don't know, those signs together was like, that's an interesting duo right there. Because I feel Aquarius is more practical.
No,
they're not. And so like they're both, although he kind of is, but like, excuse me, seeing like an air and a water sign and stuff like that. Oh yeah, we were diving into it. So please let us know because I want to hear it and then I want to do my own research on your answer.
Absolutely.
Go down this rabbit hole with you.
Yeah. Hurley, what was the sign of your last girlfriend, do you know? Did you date someone compatible?
Her birthday was in September.
Okay, well,
so do we have a day in September we can work with?
I think it was the 17th.
Okay, hold please.
If I remember correctly.
Just a brief pause here. September 17th. Hopefully she's listening. Okay, so she's a Virgo, but very close to a Libra. That's why I wasn't sure if she was a cusper. Did you guys get along? Why'd you break up?
Oh my God.
What did you do to her?
Do you plead the fifth?
Well, would you say the signs play into anything based on what we gave for explanations? What would you say?
I forget what you said Virgos do.
All right, good. I love that you listen. It's my favorite thing about you. That's my favorite thing about you.
There is a repeating trend. Well, I'll tell you something. Right. It says that intellectually, you guys share a lot in common. You have like great banter. You like good like communication, like joke around and stuff.
Yeah.
Ooh. But Virgos have trust issues. What did you do to piss her off?
I didn't do anything.
Oh.
She left me.
Screw you. Stupid girl.
Yeah. She sounds like the worst.
If you break Hurley's heart, we'll break your face.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Even though he's a jerk to us, too.
Oh, there it is.
We kind of get it, but...
I was waiting for that to spiral back at me.
I mean, I got to keep it real, you know? Love you, and I got you back, but you ain't no angel, you know?
Yes.
Okay, I don't really have anything else to say about...
No.
I feel like it's a lot to take in, and today was just like a homework assignment. Like, I just want you guys to listen, understand it all, and then maybe we'll reconvene.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get some people right in, tell us some of your stories, maybe about like what you noticed in terms of trends in your friendships, or if you've always dated the same sign, and again, like how those relationships are, like if you're dating someone who's quote unquote compatible or not based on your signs. And then maybe we'll like do a little usability testing and just see how this is going for our fans at home.
I'm fucking dead.
But I want to just put some like truth to it and tell people like there's a lot of cool information and it's like very valid.
Yeah. And if you disagree or agree with anything that we said, maybe we said something about your sign, let us know, because I'm always trying to learn more, and I have like a book on it at home that says all that stuff. So if there's anything about your sign that we were incorrect on and you are mad, you let us know and we will correct that.
But don't be mad because I just Googled it. So be mad at Google.
Yeah, be mad at Google. But definitely, let us know. Share any stories you got. We're here to listen, man.
Cool. Well, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
That's it. All right. So we will see you guys next week. But in the meantime, new episodes out every week when we feel like it. You can follow us on Instagram at 30 Flirty Surviving Podcast. We've got some TikToks up too if you want to scoot on over there, 30 Flirty Surviving. We are streaming our episodes on YouTube, iHeart, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So take a look at those, look it up, catch up if you haven't. I mean, we're 12 episodes down, man.
Yeah, I know.
Pretty freaking neat.
I know. Maybe one day I'll get the name of our podcast right.
That would be
ideal.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying. I swear. Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys. And hopefully, if you were feeling like Mercury's in retrograde, maybe this will give you like a little bit of understanding and calm things, cool things down for you until next week.
Yeah, hopefully.
See you then.
Bye, guys.
Bye.